All right, so I'm going to address questions first. We had a few people ask some of the same questions. So we only had 3 questions on here that I wanted to address a little bit. It's not going to take long because most of the things are really things we've already talked about. So I can direct y'all to some past trainings if needed. But the first one, Jennifer asked about, she said, maintaining my business with my job, family, and a team. It's hard for me to set boundaries with teamies. I always feel obligated to answer all the questions. Time management is a struggle for me. So the first thing I would say on that is have systems in place. That's really the foundation of your business, whether it's digital systems, whether it's paper systems. If you're new to systems for your business, I always recommend the Amy app. It's called Sell with Amy, I think, on the App Store. It used to be Maven, so let me make sure that that's what it's under. If you're a leader, yeah, so it's under Sell with Amy. It looks like that, if y'all can see that. And it links to, I don't know if y'all can see that. It links to, somebody type it in the chat box. It links to your workstation. So this is a must, like I said, for leaders. Systems of some sort are a must for leaders. I know some of us use paper systems. I used to use paper systems. I can't anymore because I can't keep up with that anymore, but I used to. And I know that we have people here who use digital systems or people who use Amy. We have digital systems in our group Google Drive that I've created, or some of our leaders have also created. So you can pull from that. You don't have to use everything in there. Just pull what you need. Use it. Don't stress yourself out over it. Take it, make it your own, use it exactly how it is, print it out and use it on paper. I don't care. It's there for you. So you're not having to do all that work. Just something, but I always recommend starting with Amy. If you're overwhelmed, if you can't find balance, which I don't really believe in balance. I don't think it really exists, but we can have boundaries. We can make sure we're making ourselves get off work at a certain time, or put our phone down at a certain time, or take our watch off at a certain time. Like me, after business hours, I'm like, get this thing off my wrist. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to have it vibrating. It stresses me out. So I take it off. Some people literally put their phone on do not disturb, whatever you have to do, because when you work from home and you have a job that you love so freaking much, it's so easy to just work all the time. But you don't want to do that. I'm telling you, it's a huge, huge, huge mistake if you're doing that. It will catch up with you and it's not good. So, but systems. So start with Amy if you don't have any systems in place, because Amy will, for one, it saves you a ton of time, but it allows you to do everything in one system, or pretty much everything. You can track samples that you send to people. You can view everyone's order history. You can do your follow-ups straight through that app, and it will notify you when it's time to do them. So you can have one message template that you send out. I do tweak mine a little bit with each person that I send a message to, because I want it to be not automated. I don't want it to sound automated. I don't want it to sound like it came from an app. I want it to sound like it came from me. So I will personalize it with their name. Like you can autofill their name and all that, but I will change up the template just a little bit based on each person, based on our conversation. But so you can do your follow-ups. You can mark your customers as potential recruits, and then it will tell you, hey, follow up with this person. They were interested in joining. You can mark them as potential Cincy Club members. So somebody that you've talked to about Cincy Club, but they haven't signed up yet, mark them as a Cincy Club prospect, and then you'll know to follow up with them and make sure that they get signed up, because they will forget. What else can you do in there? You can mark custom categories. This is a huge deal for me. I use it a lot for custom categories. So if I have customers who love Disney, or if I have customers who love Marvel or Warner Brothers, I don't know if y'all saw, but I made a post the other day on my personal page that said, what is your favorite Warner Brothers / Marvel / Disney movies? That was for a purpose. I do things intentionally. I want to know what people like, so when that thing comes out, I can say, look what's here. So I put them in my Amy app as a contact. Even if they've never bought from me, you can add new contacts into your Amy app, and you can mark whoever you want to as a custom category. So I mark them as, and I have a video on this on YouTube, like on exactly how to do it in the app, but I mark them as a Disney lover, a Marvel lover, a whatever. And then if a Marvel product drops, I can go into my Amy app and go to custom category, click on Marvel, and it will show me everyone who loves Marvel or who has ever ordered Marvel products. So love that feature. I also use it for my local customers. So I have all of my local customers marked as local. When I know that I'm going to be placing a local order, I will go in, filter to local. I will message all of my local order or all of my local customers and say, hey, I have an order going in with free shipping or discounted shipping, whatever it is. Here's what we have going on right now. Let me know what you need. Super simple. You have to have things in place that are going to save time, that are going to simplify your business. Because if it's not simple, you're going to get stressed out. And this is a business that should bring you joy. And, you should be able to stay focused on things you love about it and not be stressed out over, oh my gosh, I have to do this and this and this and this. And I don't have enough time. It's about managing your time well and prioritizing things and working smarter, not harder. And especially as a leader, because you've got more on you as a leader. It's not an easy job. You've got to train people. You've got to make sure people are being supported. You got to make sure people are being shouted out. You got to do, work with people one-on-one to make sure you're helping them reach their goals. You've got all this extra stuff on you. So you've got to find that balance there, and you've got to delegate things as well. You got to eliminate things that don't matter. You've got to stop doing everything so fancy if you don't have time to do that. Wait until you have an assistant that can help you do the fancy things if you need to, or delegate it to your kids or your husband or your sister or your babysitter or whatever, pay them in Cincy, who cares? So that's the biggest tip I have there, is just some kind of systems, being smart with your time, planning out your weeks. And we did talk about this a little bit too on the leadership or on the team call that I did on Tuesday, which is on my YouTube channel. And then setting boundaries with your team members, you just have to do it. You have to do it. And I'm telling you, it's going to suck at first, because you're going to feel like, if you're a people pleaser like me and you feel like you need to do all the things and help all the people, it's going to suck at first, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. They know that I'm on Facebook Messenger, but I'm not responding to them and all this stuff, but just leave it unread. They're fine. There is no Cincy emergency. Nobody's going to die. The only time there's an emergency is a literal emergency. Like if someone's family member is in the hospital or there's obvious emergencies, but there's no Cincy emergency. They're going to be okay to wait till the next day. Same for customers. They're going to be okay. You don't need to interrupt your movie time with your husband at 11 o'clock at night to message a customer back. It's going to be okay. But you have to train yourself to do that. You have to force yourself. You have to have that self-discipline as a business owner to cut it off and leave work when it's time to leave work. And it's going to create a lot more independence in your team members when they are having to find things on their own, and they know that they can't just come to you and you give them everything. You don't want to give them handouts. You don't want to hold their hand. You don't want to do too much like that. You want to create an independent business owner, not a leech. So there's that. The next question was from Savannah, Cindy, and Ray Ray. So just about keeping your team motivated and active. Last month's leadership call was on this topic. We talked a lot about it. There is no such thing as motivating people. The only thing, motivation is going to come from an outside source. So whatever their why is and their purpose, that is what you have to help them find and know what motivates them. Maybe they're money motivated, money driven. Maybe they're driven by helping other people. Maybe they're driven by, I don't know what it is that they're driven by, but that's up to you to ask them and help them figure out. So that's all you can do. It's your job to inspire them. Lead by example, show them what's possible in this business, be there for them to support them, which we're going to talk more about. That is your job. And to be the resource, guide them and send them their resources and help them with that kind of stuff. Not your job to work their business for them or anything like that. And then from Amber, she asked, but go back to last month's leadership call. If you weren't on it, go back to that. It's on my YouTube channel. Listen to it. We talked, the whole topic was about motivation and inspiration, motivation versus inspiration. And then from Amber, she asked how you manage a team that is growing quick without being overwhelmed. And that's okay. So I'm glad she asked that, because I forgot with Amy, another huge thing I use it for is frontline check-ins. So, just a way to communicate with your team, because all of your team is also in there. It's not just your customers. So not only can you access your customers' order history and see what all they've ordered, and there's a visual, literally has a picture of everything they've ordered. You can also see your team members. You can see what awards they have reached, all that stuff. It tells you if they were a sensational start level 1 earner. Well, it used to do that. I don't even know if it still does that. But anyway, my point is you can follow up with your frontline straight through there and just text them straight through there. You don't have to save their number, like worry about going through your report, saving all the numbers, all that stuff. It's right in the Amy app. Check in with your team members through there. And you need to have, again, systems in place. Systems are in the Google Drive. There's a frontline checklist that I love to use. That's the only way I can keep up with my frontline. I mean, I recruited 8 people last month. If I didn't have that system, there's no way. So you can use it digital. You can print it off if you want to, whatever works for you, and keep up with your team members that way. But you've got to have onboarding systems. So again, that goes back to onboarding trainings that we've done. All right. So let's talk about recruiting versus sponsoring. How many of you know that recruiting is different from sponsoring? Or did you think it's the same thing? Because recruiting is the initial getting the person to join. And if you're just recruiting people and you're not there to be an actual sponsor, you're going to recruit those people, or they're going to join under you voluntarily, and then nothing. So you're not training them, you're not supporting them, you're not getting to know them as a person. They're just there, and they're falling through the cracks. And then guess what? The director or the star director or the superstar director is having to reach down and take care of that person because they have no support, they have no guidance, they have nothing. No, that's right, Jennifer. It shows you. I have mine set up like that, where it tells you to check in on the first of the month, or toward the first of the month. It tells you to check in the middle of the month, end of the month. But you can go into Amy. Go to your contacts, and then you can filter and go to categories and click on team member. Apply, and then it's going to show you all of your frontline. Okay. So like I said, recruiting is getting them into the business. Sponsoring is actually guiding, training, mentoring, supporting the person. So it comes from a place of like love, and it comes from the heart, and it comes from a place of empathy, and a place of, I want to see you win, and I want to see you do amazing in this business. How can I help you do that? If you're just recruiting people and they're just sitting there and you're not talking to them, you're not reaching out to them, you're not getting to know their strengths and weaknesses, you're not getting to know their, what's going on personally. I had a coaching call with someone yesterday on my front line who her son just passed away it was a month or 2 ago. And you could see it in her numbers. You could see, she was struggling. But, I could have easily just said, oh, well, she must have just stopped working. She must just suck at life. But no, like when you get to know people and know what is going on, you can talk them through those things, and you can get down to the root of what is going on in their life, where they're struggling. What do they need? What do I need to help them with? How can I support them? So that is so important, to know your team members and have that connection with them, because they're a person before they're your team member. Just like your customers are a person before they're your customer. They're not a dollar sign. Your team members are not a number. They are people. And I think it's very easy to forget that. So don't just look at, oh, my numbers are down this month, my team sucks. Like, no. You first of all, look at yourself as the leader and ask yourself what you're doing or not doing to connect with that team. And look at what is on that topic. Look at what is going great in your team and who is working, not the people who aren't working or doing anything. Stop looking at the negative side of things. Stop looking at all the will cancels. Stop doing that and focus on what's going right, and focus on those people who are doing great and work with them. And your team is going to, or your team wholesale volume is going to get higher, because you're going to have the right mindset of how can I help this person right here get even better and help them promote and reach their goals. And then you're going to reach your goals. So anyway, so sponsoring is guiding, mentoring, and training. It comes from a place of, I see you, I feel you, you have empathy for them. I want to see you do great. How can I support you as a person and help you do great in this business? That is what sponsoring is. So with that being said, don't confuse that with hand holding and working their business for them and doing too many things for them. Because like I said, you want to create independent leaders, independent business owners, not leeches, not people who think, oh, well, I can just message her and ask her if she's just going to give me the answer. You need to be directing them to their resources when you're giving them an answer. Tell them where to find it so that they know next time. Don't just give them all the answers. That was a huge mistake I made when I first started Scentsy. And I literally get less messages and questions now with almost 200 frontline and a group of 1,700 than I did with a team of 50. Because when I had a team of 50, I was trying to do all the things for all the people. And I was stressing myself out working 24/7. And they knew that. And they knew if I have a question, I'll just message her. Oh, well, she's going to answer me. So it's all in how you respond to people, how you let them treat you. You have to work on it. Yes, you have to. It's not an option. It's something you have to do now. And every single one of you are in a place where if you implement that now, you're not going to have to worry about all that stress and all that. Like, it's not going to be there because you're already going to be in that habit. You have to work on it. Set your boundaries, set your hours, communicate that with your team so that they know the expectation, and stick to it. The minute you don't stick to it, they're going to see that and they're going to know, oh, well, she's not even serious about her work hours. I can talk to her whenever. No, you have to keep your mental health first, to be honest. It's going to take over and it's going to overwhelm you. And there is no joy in trying to please everyone. There's not. Take it from a recovering people pleaser and a recovering workaholic. There's no award for most overworked person of the year. There's no award for biggest people pleaser of the year. Don't do it. You can love your people and have boundaries. That's also loving yourself, which is most important. So again, don't drag them. Don't try to drag them. Meet your team members where they're at. If they are okay with being active every month and that is their goal, then that's great. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to pull greatness out of people or trying to help them believe in themselves more, because maybe some people are okay with that because they don't think they're worthy of having success, or they don't think they could ever do what you do for whatever reason that is. Maybe they have someone who has put them down their entire life, and so they don't believe in themselves. That is where you come in as their sponsor, their mentor, is helping pull that out of people and helping them to believe in themselves. And that's where you come in as the leader, to be an inspiration to them and help them see, like, okay, if she can do this, I can do this. And if she believes in me, then I can believe in myself. But meet people where they're at and don't force them. I think Jill talked about this in a training she did recently. Don't force them to do something they don't want to do, because that's literally going to push them away and they're going to shut down. They're not going to respond to you. They're going to not feel valued. They're going to feel like they're not good enough because they're going to think that you want them to be putting in 500 PRV every month to care about them. So meet people where they're at. Everyone's goals are different. This business does different things for different people. Not everybody's in this for the money. Some people don't need the money. Some people don't care about the money. Some people live so simply that they literally don't care if they make any extra money. They may be in this for the friendships, for the community, for the feeling, the sense of belonging, for the purpose outside of work, outside of being a mom, for the to give them something happy in their life that brings them joy. They may not be doing this for the money. So know your people. And that's the only way to be able to meet people where they're at, is to know your people. So make sure you're communicating with your team. And I kind of just covered this a little bit, but when you see people not showing up in their business or struggling, make sure you try to get to the root cause of that. Like, maybe they are content with being active every month, and that's fine. But maybe they're struggling, and maybe they're struggling for a reason in their personal life. And it usually stems from that, whether it's something from the past or something that's currently going on. You need to know your people and know what they're going through or what they have been going through. And you do that by asking questions. When I'm doing a one-on-one with someone and I'm trying to get down to the root cause of something, I'm going to ask questions until I figure it out. And that's the same way you help people figure out their why and their purpose, is ask questions until you figure it out. Or ask questions until they figure it out. Sometimes they don't even know. So when you ask them questions and you get them talking about things like that, they're going to start to realize, okay, so this is the actual problem, not I don't know how to sell things. The actual problem is I'm afraid of people thinking I'm a salesperson because of this, or I'm afraid that I am not worthy of success because of this, or I'm afraid that, whatever, they're going to think whatever about me. And that's actually why I'm not sharing things. So it's really important to ask those questions, even to yourself. Ask yourself these questions if you're struggling in one of these areas. Something that helps me. So I'm a really cut and dry person. And it's hard for me to understand someone who doesn't have a work ethic or who doesn't show up in their business every single day, no matter how hard life is. Like, I can't understand that, because that's not who I am. I'm going to show up. The worst things are, I'm going to show up harder. I'm going to use that energy, that energy for a positive thing. And, you use things as fuel to my fire, rather than saying, oh, well, I give up. I will never give up. I'm not that person. It's just not me. So it's hard for me to understand why people do that or how they can do that. But it's not up to us to understand that. There will be people who don't want to work, and that is not for you to stress out over. That is their problem. That is not for a problem for you to take on. It's not your business. It's not for you to understand. So that wasn't in my notes. Don't even know why I said that. But think back to your first 6 months, or if you're still struggling with things in your business, there's a fly on my head. Think back to your first 6 months, or now if you're struggling with it, and when you had fears or when you had a negative mindset, and just think back to how you felt as a newer consultant, or when you did your first live, or whatever it is, or when you had your first sponsoring conversation, and think back how you felt in that moment, and try and compare that with your new team members. If you want to just be like, why is this person not working? Like, I don't understand. Like, what are they doing? Instead, think about, okay, I remember being a new consultant, being terrified to go live. How can I talk them through this? How can I share my story of being scared versus, once I stepped into that fear, what it did for my business and what it's still doing for my business? How can I talk them through that? That is what I have to do. And I have to, because the longer you do this, the easier things get, and the more you forget how they used to be. So I really have to reflect back on how I used to feel when I used to be clueless. I didn't know how to do whatever on the workstation or whatever. So sometimes that stuff will keep you sane to just think about when you were in those shoes, but it also helps your team members. So empathize with them, try and talk them through it, share your personal stories. It's just like when you're recruiting someone and they're like, this is why I want to join, but this is why I'm scared to join. You can say, I remember being scared to join for that reason too, or I remember also being scared to join. Here's what I found once I pushed through that fear, blah, blah, blah. So empathize with people, whether it's recruiting or once you've already sponsored them and you're their mentor, empathize with people. Good. I'm glad you needed to hear that. That must be why I said it. So, I already talked about, so I had wrote down, make sure I told y'all about my coaching call yesterday, but that coaching call was really special to me. She, like I said, she had slacked off, and I asked her how she was doing at the beginning of our call. I asked her how she's doing in personal life and how things are. And that's important. That's important to make people feel valued, and for your customers and for your team, make them feel valued, make them feel like you care. They don't want to be a part of something where nobody cares about them. People don't want to stay at a job that nobody cares about them, that their boss is a butthole and doesn't care about them at all. If they left work that day, they would just be replaced. They don't want to be a part of that. So don't make your team feel that way. Make your team feel like they're a part of a community and a culture that is sticky, that they can never leave, that they never want to leave. They always want to be a part of it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Write that down. I love that quote. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Once they know how much you care about them, they will listen to you. They will take your advice. They will hear what you have to say. But until then, they don't care. I'm glad y'all needed to hear this. I love it. Your business will build. This is another thing you can write down. Your business will build at the speed of love. If y'all listen to Jessie Lee Ward, she was on one of our calls a few months back. I don't remember if it was a team call or a leadership call. I think it was a leadership call. I don't know. But she did amazing, and it's recorded on my YouTube channel too. I had to put it on there. But she says that all the time, business will build at the speed of love. And it's so true. When you're in this for the wrong reasons, your business isn't going to grow. You're going to wonder why you're always feeling stuck, and why nothing's happening, and why nobody's buying from you, and nobody's joining your team, and your team is doing terrible, and nobody's selling anything. Your business will build at the speed of love. When you love people, your business will build. When you're in this for the right reasons, you have a service mindset, like we talked about on my team call on Tuesday. When you have a service mindset, it makes all the difference in the world. And Brittany always says people over paychecks, and that's my favorite thing. It's so true. It's never about us. It's always about other people. And when you forget about the selfishness and, oh my gosh, I have a goal to reach, and oh my God, focus on serving others, focus on helping others, and your business will build. That is when you will actually see results, is when you're not focused so much on the desperation of reaching a certain goal. You will reach the goals when you're helping other people. So this is another thing that I have found really helpful. So y'all have heard me talk about doing a few things well versus trying to do all the things. Y'all have heard me talk about that a lot this year, because that was a realization that I came to, that I was working. Like I said, I'm a workaholic and I love my job. So it's very easy for me to do too many things and say that I'm working, but I'm really not working. Like I'm not being productive. So I was doing a lot of things that didn't matter in my business that I had to cut out. And so, or delegate, because I do have an assistant now. So there's a lot of things that my assistant does that I didn't have the time to do. So y'all have heard me say that, focus on doing a few things well. And that is something you can use for your new team members for when they join, because y'all know we have a lot of product, and some people will get overwhelmed because they don't know what to share, or they overshare and then drive everybody away because they're like, oh, this annoying Cincy consultant right here, I'm going to unfollow her. But it's one or the other. They will shut down because they're overwhelmed, or they will share too much. And I like to tell my team members to focus on just selling a few products well, just like doing a few things well versus trying to do everything. Focus on selling your favorite things. So for me, I spray Scentsy Fresh on my bed every morning in my couch. I love it. I love it. It covers up the dog smell. I love the way it smells when we get in the bed at night and we pull the sheets back and it just smells like fresh lavender cotton. I love that. So I share that every single morning. I like to clean. Weird, I know. I like to clean. So I will share when I'm cleaning. It serves as motivation for people. If they don't want to get up and clean their house, it makes them get off their butt and clean their house because they're inspired by that or motivated by that. So I share cleaning products. I love them. They are a product that I use every single day. Whiff boxes, I share them like crazy because they come with tons of product in them. They're a variety of product. People love a surprise box, and that gets tons of product in their hand, and they're not paying retail for it. So when you're getting that whiff box into their hand, they're getting all these new products to try that they're going to end up reordering, and then you can get them on Scentsy Club to reorder those products or to get their whiff box every month at a discount. Whiff box are a huge part of my business. They are basically everybody in my Scentsy Club, which is like 25 people a month usually. I have like 45 subscribers, and most of them have a whiff box in their subscription. So I focus hard on whiff boxes. Cleaning products. When I'm changing my warmers, I make a reel or I post it in my stories. I love my dogs, so we love the pet line. I share that. I'm not a huge diffuser person, so you won't see me sharing my diffuser all the time. I only use it every so often. I don't use it every day. I don't use it every night. Well, we have 3, but I don't use them every day or every night. I definitely don't use Carson's because he won't even sleep in his bedroom. But that's one thing you won't see me sharing all the time because it's not something I use all the time. So I don't stress over that. I stress the things I do use all the time. I love wall fans because my child obviously can't really put a nightlight down low when you've got young kids or dogs running through the house, get their tails in it, all that stuff. So I love my mini fan. I share my mini fan in my car. My husband has one in his truck. I share those because we love them. It's something I use every single day. It's something I can easily show because it's there. It's already there. So, maybe for example, you tell them that I always tell people to focus on whiff boxes. I don't care. Like, just sell whiff boxes. Whiff boxes are always a thing that I want people focusing on, but ask them, what do you love the most? What do you use every single day that you love? Maybe they're a mom and their kids are obsessed with their buddies, like Carson is. He has like a bajillion of them. He sleeps with 1 or 2 every single night. If they're a mom, maybe they focus on buddies and wall fans because they can show, here's how a wall fan benefits us with my crazy kid. Here's how it can benefit you with your crazy kids. Maybe they're a dog mom, so they focus on whiff boxes, pet line, and wall fans. Again, wall fans with the dog tails and the cat tails and all the things. Just encourage them to share what they love and not try to share everything that we have. It's not possible to share everything that we have. But when you're doing a Facebook party or something like that, that is when you can share more of the product. I know like Brittany, she loves fragrance flowers, and you'll see her share fragrance flowers all the time. She loves them. So just focus on the things you love most, or have your team members focus on things they love most and share those things. You do the same. If you feel overwhelmed and you feel like I'm not sharing enough, or I need to share more, or whatever, just focus on the things you love that you're using every single day and share that. Sarah's reading the comments. That's awesome, Christy. I love that. Yep. Yeah, like Cindy said, her grandkids love the buddies and fragrance flowers. So, and include your kids, include your pets, like include your spouse. I encourage my team members to do that too. This is a family business. So the more you involve people, the more you're going to sell. I'm going to be honest. People like Carson way more than they like me. If he does a live video, they're like, hey, Carson, pick me out a 6-pack and I'm going to order it. And they will literally go on my website and order 6 bars that a 3.5-year-old picked out for them. And I'm like, that's awesome. So they love it. But yeah, that is about all that I have. I think if you're not on my team, or if you're not on my team page and you haven't seen my call from Tuesday, I highly recommend watching that. It was so good. And it was all about service mindset versus selling. And it goes along with recruiting. It can be tied in with leadership. It can be tied into any aspect of your business, but keep a service mindset always. And you've already won. Like, so focus on serving people. Focus on serving people always, and you have already won. You just have to wait for the results. Does anybody have any questions? We've got a few minutes that I can stay on for questions if y'all have any questions.